Hey, what's up guys? It's Bradu. Been a long time since I've done a card video, but I had kind of a fun story time idea and I got some packs. 86 Donruss, 87 Donruss. These blister packs are pretty cool. I'm going to start with one of those. And one lonely pack of 83 tops. Uh, anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to tell a story, but it's going to turn into like 3 or 4 stories that take a long time. The other thing I want to do is show you what I do when I open packs. That would be kind of fun. And these blister packs work perfect. What these are basically, it's 75 cards. So 25 cards in each of the thirds. And that's a pretty good amount to make a hypothetical lineup. So yes, it's fun to chase, Bonds rookies and Bo rookies and McGuire Donruss first card or whatever. But to get my maximum amount of enjoyment out of these packs, I like to sit around and open them while I'm watching TV or something like that, just listening to something, and pretend this is my team and how would I make a lineup and a batting order and a pitching rotation. So I go through. This is unfortunate because I'm going to just have to look at the cards and tell you if there's any. So I go like this: infielder Oberkfell, infielder Galarraga, pitcher Acker, pitcher Oz, outfielder Moses, Wilfong, second baseman. Diamond Kings don't make the lineup because they don't have stats on the back. Ed Romero, shortstop, Hal McRae, outfield. So first I just sort them by position. Glenn Bragg's outfield. Ramirez, Manny Trio. I need a catcher. Bill Mooneyham, Uribe, Sammy Stewart. This might not work if I don't get a catcher. Usually you at least get somebody at each position so you can kind of work it out. Biancala, Spire, Floyd Yeomans. Also, I always hope for at least one good card per thing, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Stillwell, Pankovitz, Charlie Knuckleballer Huff, Lee Lacy, Hubie Brooks. I'm running out of chances at a catcher and a good card. Rafael Santana, Rick Roden, Steve Farr. I do not have a catcher, so I'm not even going to do it with that pack. Wow, that was a dud pack for in every which way. And I might not even get to story time. We'll try a second blister. Okay. And I hear my baby too. That's not good. But I'll have to run upstairs and stop this video. Let's try again. Another thing I'll do if I'm sitting down like this and doing a whole thing, I didn't get a catcher, right? So what I will do, if I get 2 catchers here, then I'll work out a little trade between the 2 teams. I'm probably not going to do that, but that's just how I do things. Doyle Alexander, Corey Snyder, Jeff Leonard, Alfredo Sauce Griffin, Gary Gaetti, Steve Lake. We got a catcher. Jerry Brown, rated rookie. Kurt Wilkerson, Ozzie Dean, couple shortstops. Mark Langston, Lamar Hoyt, Franklin Stubbs, Mickey Brantley, Jose Gonzalez. Pat Clements, pitcher, Frank White. Jesse Barfield, Jerry Naron. There's a second catcher, though I don't know that either of them is going to be starting material. Tim Burke, Brian Downing, Rick Leach, DH. A DH I usually use my own judgment. They might play a position that I know they can play, and they might end up being a DH. Eddie Milner, Paliarulo, and Louis Aquino. What we have here is so far 2 horrible, horrible packs in terms of rookies and stars. We have nothing good yet, but I'll still make a team because now I can. So I go catcher. We got Naron and Steve Lake. Steve Lake, this is tough because neither guy even got 100 at bats, but it's an easy choice. If this is what I'm looking at, we got a lefty bat and a righty bat. So they would platoon it basically depending on who the opposing pitcher is. But my top choice is going to be Lake with a 294 batting average and 2 home runs in 68 at bats. Infield, I do infield kind of all at once, so I put all the infielders in one stack. But I only got 1 first baseman here, Franklin Stubbs. But I also think Rick Leach played some first base, and sometimes they tell you that on the back. Not always, but I'm just guessing. It does say he can quarterback. I don't need a quarterback for this. And I'm going to go with Rick Leach because Stubbs, even though he hit 23 homers, only hit 226. So we'll go Rick Leach with a 309 batting average in about half the season, which means he probably platooned with somebody. Let's see what else I got. Third base, I got two choices. It's definitely going to be Gaetti. Pagliarulo has good power, but poor average. Potentially a DH, though. I always pretend it's an AL team. Well, now I don't even have to pretend because everybody has a DH, right? But Gaetti, 287, 34 homers. No brainer there. Second base, I got Frank White or Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown with 417, but only 24 at bats. So I would only use him if I didn't really have a full-time option. And Frank White's real solid anyway. 22 homers, 272. Batting average. So Jerry Brown, I think of him as like a good sub, good pinch hitter, but he's not going to keep up 417 over a career or over a season. 3 shortstops. Now this is tricky because I'm just looking at the names: Alfredo Griffin, Ozzie Guillen, Curtis Wilkerson. I'm going with Ozzie Guillen, but statistically is what I do because we've got stats on the card to look at. And in that case, I'm going to take Alfredo Griffin with a 285 batting average, 6 triples, and 33 steals. He had a good year. And Guillen's more of a defensive guy, and that doesn't show up on the card statistically. I actually made up a dice game to play. I don't often do the dice game, but I could if I wanted to sit down and spend a half hour or whatever playing a game with these teams. All based on the stats on the back. All right. Corey Snyder, he's in. Rookie Corey Snyder was real solid, 272, 24 homers. Jeff Leonard is probably in with a 279 average. A couple guys who are out. Jesse Barfield led the league in homers with 40 and a 289. He's in for sure. Eddie Milner would normally be a pretty solid choice. He's got speed. He's got a little pop. He's got not a horrible average. But on this team, he's not going to make the cut. We got Barfield. We got Snyder. Jeff Leonard at 279 with 16 steals is probably going to make it, which leaves Brian Downing 267 with 20 homers. I would probably take him over Milner or Pagliarulo or Stubbs at the DH spot. Pagliarulo at 28 homers also makes sense as a DH. So now I got my 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's see. Speed, we had good speed with shortstop Griffin, 285 with 33 steals. He's a good option for leadoff. I like Frank White, 272, 22 homers second. Third, we're looking for a good batting average, good power. I think I'll have to go with Barfield. 289. 40 homers makes him seem like a cleanup, but we also have Gaetti, 287 with 34 homers. Both of them had 108 RBIs, so we got a good 3-4 powerhouse team. Fifth hitter is a tough choice because everybody's good here. I would go with Corey Snyder with 24 homers, 272. Then next up, I'd go with Rick Leach with a 309 batting average. Brian Downing with home runs and okay batting average. Then Jeff Leonard. And my ninth, actually, I kind of like having a little bit of speed at the ninth spot, so I'll go with Lake 8th, Leonard 9th. That's a good, solid team. There were no weak hitters in here. Pitching, if I have enough pitchers, I will do a full rotation of 5 and then look at the bullpen. This time I only got 6 pitchers, and just for the sake of brevity also, I would look at this and pick an ace and a closer. So we got Doyle's a starter, Langston's a starter, Hoyt's a starter, relief. So we got 3. I like Langston. Doyle Alexander's a little long in the tooth here. Statistically, Alexander takes it, and he's not exactly an ace with a 4.14 ERA. Langston, who's a good pitcher overall, led the league in earned runs and strikeouts and runs given up. Wow. And 2 seasons before, he led the league in walks and actually had more in this season. So that's crazy. He does have a lot more potential. I like Langston, but statistically, I would go with Alexander. And do I have a good reliever? Yes, I do. 2 good relievers. Nice. Clements with a 2.80 ERA and 2 saves. Burke with a 2.93 and 4 saves. One of them's a righty and one of them's a lefty, so I would look at them as splitting that role. There you go. There's my team. I'm not going to do a team on each of these, but that's how I do it. That's how I get more enjoyment out of that. I did that real fast. I sometimes will take a little more time, but that's, 10 minutes of joy just out of joy, fun, whatever. So now I'm not going to do a team, and I can see that I'm going to have to open some more, but I thought a good fun topic for discussion would be I'm a guy who likes to search, offer up Craigslist, look for collections. What have you found that turned out to be a really neat buy? I'm only going to show you if I got something cool like a Fred McGriff. The first one that I remember being pretty cool and exciting was, it was like a pretty small collection. I want to say about maybe 6 long boxes, so 6 or 700 count boxes with, it was hard to tell what was in there, but I feel like I remember seeing some old cards, or maybe I messaged the guy and he said, some of the cards were from the 70s. Like Schmidt, very solid, good power hitter. Led the league in home runs and RBIs in 86, 290 batting average. That's a solid season all the way around. And I remember this was the clincher for me. I remember messaging the guy and saying, so it's probably pretty much just commons, right? And he was like, what's commons? What does that mean? And I was like, okay, so this isn't necessarily a guy who has picked through this. He goes, I don't know, this is what I collected when I was a kid. They've been sitting in these boxes for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it is. Harold Baines, Kirby Puckett, Diamond King. There's our best card. Pretty weak, but best card. Nolan Ryan. So Nolan Ryan tried to save the break, but that was a horrible blister overall with no key rookies. Not even a single dollar rookie in Beckett. I'll move on and do another one of these. Anyway, I'm going to have to speed this one up. It was really cool. It wasn't a huge valuable collection, but it did turn out to be like 4 long boxes of 1970s cards. It was a box of 78 that was almost a complete set, but it missed like the key cards. 79, a box of 79 that did have the Ozzie Smith. When I saw the Ozzie Smith, I was like, ooh, there's an Ozzie Smith rookie in here. There's a good chance I have the 78. What do you got? Eddie Murray and Paul Molitor. Nope, neither of those. There was 75s, both regular size and small. No George Brett, no Robin Yount. But all the Pete Roses were there. All the other star cards. So it ended up being pretty darn cool, and it was like 25 bucks. Tony Gwynn. That was the first one I remember being excited about. David Cohn. I seem to get a lot of David Cohn. So there's at least a marginally good rookie to start things out. I always kind of look at it like that. Out of each blister, I like to at least hit, one of those rookies that would be listed in Beckett. So another collection that I had a ton of fun with, Tom Browning, was, I'm going to jump to this one. I just bought a collection that I was real excited about, which is what made me think about this. And it turned out to be not quite as good as I had hoped, but it still wasn't bad. Wrong Barry on Pittsburgh. And that was a bit of a dud there too without, that was Cohn, wasn't it? So that's not horrible. So anyway, the one I just got was It was very poorly listed. It was listed for only $50, which seemed okay, but it's really hard to tell if there's anything good. There was one picture, and all you can see is a golf card. But you can see that there's a good, what are they, about a 200 count, 3-row box. And there was a bunch of top loaders in there too, so I'm thinking maybe it's good cards. And then I messaged and asked for a little more info, and the guy's like, I don't really know much about them, but I see names of players I know, Nolan Ryan's and Ozzie Smith. So I was just like, whatever. It turned out the guy lived really close to me, so I was like, I think I want to get it. Would you mind just meeting up? He goes, yeah, there's a ton of cards here, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, I see it, 2,000 count box. That's a ton to some people. It's not really a ton. Paul Molitor, but potential. And I get there, I meet up with the guy. He was super nice. He was super cool. My goal was to grab out a handful of cards, just a handful, random, look at them, and see if it was just commons or crap cards in top loaders. And it was all Nolan Ryan's. It was all rookies. It was all rookies or stars or inserts. I don't remember if I saw anything really nice right off the bat, but immediately I was like, okay, this is a box of all good cards, not crappy commons. And not only that, but Greg Swindell rated rookie, but it wasn't just one of those boxes. It was about 3 of those boxes, and then a big tub, like a big Tupperware tub, the huge ones, and a box about like this with cards just chucked into it. So I was like, okay, so we got a bunch of commons I got to haul around too. Well, I got home, and those weren't commons either. They were Steve Carlton, Goose Gassage. They were actually good cards in top loaders thrown in there. So I'm thinking, and they were all years, a lot of 90s, a lot of 2000s. I'm thinking this is like the years of, a Trout rookie, Favre rookie. There could be any number of like monster hits in here, and it was only $50. I'm thinking like, how did the guy not really know anything about these or whatever? Well, when I went through the whole thing, and it was fun, and it was a great deal, especially what I paid. It turned out that I asked him about him, like, how did you get him? And this answered all my questions, because I didn't find any monster hits. I found a bunch of like can't miss stars, can't miss prospects that missed. Guys whose cards first came out and were valuable, and then they dropped to nothing. There'd be loads of those guys. A bunch of minor rookies and a bunch of base cards of Nolan Ryan, Don Mattingly, Jerry Rice, like hundreds. A lot of basketball cards, but only like a few base Jordans. Anyway, the guy's like, I don't know anything about cards. I was at Goodwill and saw this big collection and thought it looked like a good buy. I took them home and started looking, and it was just super overwhelming. So I'm just trying to get my money back from what I spent on them. And so I'm like, okay, this makes a lot of sense now, because the collection these came from was clearly a much, much bigger collection. There's like 30 Paul Tagliabue 90 Pro Set football cards, and that was like you get one per few boxes or whatever. So whoever had this collection had all those big rookies. Like it had you'd see every rookie from whatever year Kevin Durant was a rookie. I'd have a big stack of rookies from that year, from that set. And the only one missing would be Kevin Durant and like the next highest one listed in Beckett. But all the minor rookies would be there. Devon White and Jose Canseco. I wonder if I'll get the Canseco Diamond King. I've noticed that more than once. Canseco base and Diamond King in the same little section. Bruce Hurst, Eric Davis, boy, was he amazing for a few years. And I looked up his stats not all that long ago, and I was blown away by how awesome he was for a few years, and then how terrible he was the rest of his career. And what was most amazing about all of it is he never, ever once played a full season. I don't think he ever got over 500 at bats. So he was clearly injury-ridden. So anyway, this collection I got ended up being definitely great for the price, but it didn't, like, the best card was maybe a $15 card, not, you know, a $100 card. And there was a whole bunch of $1 to $2 cards. Dumb ass. I know somebody who would be real happy about that. And I did call that one. But boy, was that two stinkers. And I got more story time, so I guess I'm going to pause here and go grab at least one more of those and do a part 2.